Rebecca Ejifoma reports that Draw the Line Against Malaria campaign, a new youth-focused creative campaign championed by a global coalition of change-makers and culture influencers, inspires Africa's youth to demand political action from their leaders to end malaria within a generation. A new youth-focused creative campaign powered by African stars launched today to draw the line, DTL, against malaria, one of humanity's oldest and deadliest diseases. Global Coalition of Change-makers. Against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, the campaign is championed by a global coalition of change-makers and culture influencers inspiring Africa's youth to demand political action from their leaders to end malaria within a generation. Popular faces featured on the campaign include Dr. Amatala Jalaid Ekinde, Nigerian actress and philanthropist, Laolu Sabanjo, Nigerian-British artist, Osas Iodaro, Nigerian-American actress, producer and Meji Alabi, critically acclaimed filmmaker and music director. Other stars in the lineup are Saray Kumalo, South African explorer, and Eliud Kipchoge, Kenyan athlete and Olympic gold medalist. Art visualization. Combining an interactive digital platform with a powerful campaign film, young people across the continent are charged to visit www.zeromalaria.org and add a personal line of Mundo art to a growing piece of crowdsourced artwork which represents a visual call to action to world leaders. The artwork will be shared at the Kigali Summit on Malaria and Neglected Tropical Diseases, being held on the eve of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM, in Rwanda on June 24. The summit is a milestone moment in the malaria fight and enabler of game-changing political decisions including delivering the commitment to have malaria across the Commonwealth by 2023. Global artist from Nigeria and art director for the Draw the Line Against Malaria campaign, Laolu Sabanjo, is the creator of Mundo, the first universal malaria language, comprising lines, symbols and patterns which represent an eye-catching visualization of the actions needed to end malaria once and for all. Malaria cases in Nigeria. Recording over 60 million cases in 2019 and 95,000 deaths, Nigeria is the country with the highest number of malaria cases and deaths in the world. The DTL campaign launches at a critical time, with setbacks to malaria progress suffered amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and the country set to unveil the new National Malaria Elimination Strategy which will run from 2021 to 2025. Dr. Abdourahmane Diallo, CEO of RBM Partnership to End Malaria, addresses the renewed urgency in the fight against malaria said, long-time investments in the malaria fight continue to pay dividends and are pulling double duty during the pandemic. By strengthening our health care systems, we can better respond to both new and existing health threats. Today, we must all draw the line against malaria and recommit to achieving zero malaria in Africa and around the world. Draw the Line campaign. The Draw the Line Against Malaria campaign, which supports the growing Zero Malaria Starts With Me movement, reflects the human story of malaria and the devastating impact it has on education, employment, health, and prospects of Africa's growing young population. Speaking on the creative concept, Meji Alabi said, "It's refreshing to talk about the world's oldest disease in a new way and to focus on young people while showcasing the infectious energy, talent and inspiration coming out of Africa right now." From art, to music, culture, and fashion, the influence and creativity is palpable. At a time when young people are facing unprecedented challenges from COVID-19, malaria steals time, work, salaries, education, and futures. Amatala Jalaid Ekinde captures the severity of the situation, noting, "I have known this disease my whole life. This campaign is a moment for us to unite in determination and action. It's time to take our futures back." The Draw the Line campaign is fronted by a coalition of global partners including the African Leaders Malaria Alliance (ALMA), the African Union the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Impact Santé Afrique, Dentsu International, Malaria No More UK, RBM Partnership to End Malaria and Speak Up Africa. In the run-up to the Kigali Summit on Malaria and NTD's Summit, the Draw the Line campaign will roll out youth-centric initiatives of cultural resonance, sounding a rallying cry for them to step up action in the fight against malaria and join the confluence of voices reclaiming their futures till we see and celebrate a day when malaria is no more. Shah Kolisi, captain of the Springboks, South Africa's World Cup-winning rugby team, said, "Every child, every young person deserves the chance to step into their potential. This is a world-changing campaign and we have the opportunity to protect the futures of millions of children across Africa. My message to young people is to get excited and to get involved because this is one disease we can end within a generation. Together we stand and say, malaria, we're too strong for you." Dr. Amatala J. Ekand, Nigerian actress and philanthropist, further noted that, "It would be incredible if we could end malaria in Africa. I have known this disease my whole life. It breaks my heart that Nigeria is so affected with over 250 lives lost here every single day. This campaign is a moment for us to unite in determination and action. It's time to take our futures back." Sherry Silver, award-winning Rwandan British choreographer, said, "I lost my 9-year-old cousin to malaria and at that moment my life changed. Ending malaria became a personal mission for me. It is not acceptable that in this day and age malaria remains a huge killer of children. I'm proud to be a part of this campaign which is building up to a critical leadership moment in June when my home country Rwanda will host a global summit on malaria and NTDs at the time of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting." Meji Alabi, Nigerian film director, said, "This campaign is a beautiful opportunity to change the narrative and to show off the infectious energy, talent and inspiration coming out of Africa right now. From art, to music, culture, and fashion, the influence and creativity is palpable. It's refreshing to talk about the world's oldest disease in a new way and to focus on young people because our actions today will help transform their futures. Being Nigerian myself, I've lost a lot of loved ones to malaria and it is time for this to change." Osas Iodaro, Nigerian-American actress said, "This is a cause very close to my heart. My sister was expecting her baby in 2006 and she caught malaria and was not able to overcome it. It was a devastating time. Right now, 1 in 3 pregnant women suffer from malaria in sub-Saharan Africa. This is a human problem because malaria can be beaten if we unite together. This campaign is a moment for change and I fully believe in my heart, we will see and celebrate the day when malaria is no more." Saray Kumalo, South African explorer, noted, "Ending malaria will change the course of humanity for good, forever. I grew up living with malaria in DRC and Zambia, so I know how devastating this disease is. Malaria is a human problem that is entirely preventable so we can all be involved helping to solve it. South Africa is a great example of a country where malaria elimination is within our grasp." Unifying global platforms. In 2018 the world came together to demand urgent action against malaria. Zero Malaria Starts With Me was launched by African Union leaders and in communities and countries across Africa, and 53 heads of government came together to commit to have malaria in the Commonwealth by 2023. The movement has generated Community Zero Malaria champions supporting national End Malaria funds to drive private sector investment. Others have established parliamentary groups to advocate for greater action and resources to fight malaria. The next few years are critical to reach out 2030 targets. In 2021 we will inspire a new generation to join the Zero Malaria Starts With Me movement with the fresh new Draw the Line Against Malaria campaign, creating a unifying, groundbreaking and inspiring global platform which will capture youth and public imagination, and rally communities and leaders. The campaign aims to generate mass awareness and high visibility for the Zero Malaria Starts With Me movement across malaria-affected countries and beyond. On the 22nd of February, Viacom CBS Networks Africa announced that it was joining forces with the ZMSWM movement and supporting the Draw the Line Against Malaria campaign. Campaign partners. The global partners include the African Leaders Malaria Alliance (ALMA), the African Union, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Impact Santé Afrique, Dentsu International, Malaria No More UK, RBM Partnership to End Malaria and Speak Up Africa. On the other hand, the supporting partners include Goodbye Malaria, Rentokil Initial, Restless Development. Results: Sanofi, Target Malaria, and Viacom CBS Networks Africa, while they broadcast partner as DSTV and the creative and brand strategy as Dentsu International. The main campaign film was shot by Black Dog, part of Ridley Scott Creative Group, JM Films, Densuik Tung, Laulu NYC, Daniel Obasi, Hugo Mosey, Wave, Trim Editing, Zay, Big Buoy. While they behind-the-scenes film was shot by Fixa, Dave Obero, Mark Pengeli, Nicole Evely. The digital was handled by Isabar, Firstborn, Facebook, while media was by Carrot, iProspect. The film music Muanapodo was performed by Chig and written and composed by Fatisai Savanat and Nicholas DeCunha Castell at Sound Recording. Copyright 2017 Deco Studios under exclusive license to EOS Records. Copyright EOS Publishing and Deco Studios 2017. Courtesy of Eclairoshock and Deco Studios. 2021 a key year for malaria. 2 decades of partnership and global commitment have led to transformative progress against malaria, preventing 1.5 billion cases, cutting deaths by more than 60% and saving more than 7.6 million lives since 2000. This represents millions of children who have grown up to lead happy and productive lives. At the beginning of 2020, mortality rates were at the lowest point ever, but the world has changed since then. A remarkable collective effort across Africa has enabled countries to fight back, with more than 90% of malaria prevention campaigns moving forward in 2020 without major delay. But the rapid spread of COVID-19 this year has further threatened to disrupt malaria progress. The World Health Organization is warning that disruption to malaria diagnosis and treatment caused by COVID-19 could lead to thousands of additional deaths. Looking towards a malaria-free future. Experts convened by the World Health Organization (WHO) agree that malaria eradication is likely to save millions of lives and billions of dollars. In 2019, the Lancet Commission on Malaria Eradication, made up of leading scientists from around the world, found that if we focus efforts on strengthening leadership, increasing investment, prioritizing research and innovation, including the development of new tools, and implementing smart, data-driven programs, ending malaria is possible within a generation. Decisions made now by global political leaders, backed by strong public support, will determine this trajectory. Already, more countries than ever are within reach of elimination, with Algeria and Argentina both certified malaria-free in 2019, but every country should be able to reap the benefits of zero malaria. We must act now to create a fairer future that leaves no one behind. About global action to eliminate malaria. In 2018, global investment and action saved almost 600,000 lives and prevented almost 100 million malaria cases compared to 2000. Despite these gains, malaria cases and deaths remain unacceptably high and concentrated in 19 countries. In the last 2 years, leaders across the world renewed their commitment and united to fight against malaria. In April 2018, 53 heads of government committed to have malaria in the Commonwealth by 2023. Governments, science, and the private sector added their support, pledging $4.1 billion to accelerate research and development of new tools for the malaria fight and expand access to life-saving tools. In July 2018, 55 leaders of the African Union launched the Pan-African Zero Malaria Starts With Me movement, co-led by the RBM Partnership to End Malaria and the African Union Commission, empowering communities to take greater action to accelerate malaria elimination across Africa. In just over a year, 10 countries have unveiled campaigns, and more than 20 countries, including malaria-affected countries beyond Africa such as India, are getting ready to step up the fight. And in October 2019, the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria, the leading source of malaria funding globally, was successfully replenished with $14 billion. Key statistics. Despite enormous progress, nearly half the world is still at risk from malaria, which killed 409,000 people in 2020, almost 2/3 are children under 5. Africa carries the greatest malaria burden in the world, with 94% of all cases and deaths. A child dies from malaria every 2 minutes, 700 children a day, and 6 countries account for over 50% of malaria deaths. Nigeria 23%, the Democratic Republic of the Congo 11%, United Republic of Tanzania 5%, Burkina Faso 4%, Mozambique 4%, and Niger 4%. Also, women and children are disproportionately affected by malaria. 2/3 of all malaria deaths are children under 5, and 1 in 3 pregnant women in sub-Saharan Africa suffers from malaria. Africa has the fastest growing youth population in the world. At a time when young people are facing unprecedented challenges from COVID-19, malaria steals time, work, salaries, education, and futures. We know ending malaria is possible. Sustained global efforts over the last 2 decades have saved over 7 million lives and prevented more than 1.5 billion cases. Half the world is malaria-free, and at the start of 2020, pre-COVID-19 malaria deaths were at the lowest point ever. Since 2000, 21 countries reported 0 indigenous malaria cases for 3 consecutive years. In Africa this includes Morocco, 2010, and Algeria, 2019.